Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think it looks like our participants are in, so I just want to welcome you to this really exciting event today. My name is Mary Wells, and I'm so proud to be the Dean of Engineering here at the University of Waterloo. My pronouns are she, her, and I am so pleased to welcome you all today to learn more about our IBET PhD project. And it is one of our National Engineering Month events, and so we're really excited to share this with you. I did want to give you a couple of reminders that closed captioning is available by clicking the CC button at the bottom of your screen if you need that. Please submit any questions that you do have using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. As many as possible will be answered aloud during the moderated Q&A portion of the event. However, I think we only have maybe up to 20 minutes to do that, so we may not be able to get to all of them. Please email Sam Lawson, and you've got her email there, our IBET administrative assistant, with any specific or additional questions about the webinar you might have or about the IBET PhD project. I just wanted to give a territorial acknowledgement as to where the University of Waterloo is located, and just to say that the University of Waterloo acknowledges that much of our work takes place on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Our main campus is situated on the Haldimand Tract, the land granted to the Six Nations that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. Our active work toward reconciliation takes place across all of our campuses through research, learning, teaching, and community building, and is centralized within the Office of Indigenous Relations. So before we begin, I'd like to introduce a very special guest to bring greetings from Canada Post in honor of National Engineering Month. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Pina Downey. She's a professional engineer with nearly 25 years of experience. She began her career as an engineer at DuPont, Canada, in Kingston, Ontario, where she was a process engineer responsible for nylon production. She is currently the director on the delivery transformation team, where she is a national lead for a multi-million-dollar cross-functional strategic project at Canada Post. And so Pina, welcome, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Well, I really look forward to the discussion today, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. So today, in recognition of Canada Post's champion sponsorship of EDI Week this week, I will take a few minutes to showcase the great work that Canada Post has been undertaking to support EDI. So what makes Canada Post special is that everyone, like yourselves, are touched by Canada Post in some way, whether it's by checking your mail or waving to your letter carrier or getting a parcel at your doorstep. So at Canada Post, we're currently embarking on a transformational program to modernize the Post to better adapt to a parcel-centric world, to become a stronger Canada delivered. The timeline for this transformation has been greatly advanced, as you know, thanks to the global pandemic and the rapid increase in online shopping. So to set the stage, I wanted to share a statement from our Chief People and Safety Officer that really highlights how important EDI is at Canada Post. Canada Post deeply believes that for us to transform and meet our purpose of a stronger Canada delivered, we must continue to transform our workforce to better reflect the Canadian population. One of the most important ingredients in doing that successfully is attracting and retaining employees from diverse backgrounds and experiences that all see how they can contribute and feel connected to our transformation plans. We all need to raise awareness and sensitivity about other cultures, adopt bias-free practices, and reflect on inclusive values while developing and growing our most important asset, our people. So I'm just going to spend a couple minutes touching on some of the key initiatives that Canada Post is doing in the EDI space. Firstly, the Women in Engineering Committee, which I'm personally involved with, is a wonderful grassroots committee that has really taken off in the organization. And its goal is to provide awareness and promote and support women in engineering. There's many facets to the Women in Engineering Committee, and one of which is the 30 by 30 subcommittee, which focuses on increasing that STEM interest in young girls with the national goal of increasing that percentage of licensed female engineers to 30% by the year 2030. So Canada Post is a national company. We reach far and wide. So we want to get into those classrooms. We want to sponsor those science fairs. We want to be part of the local community events to spark that STEM interest. On a personal note, I'm personally from an immigrant family, and I had no exposure to engineering at all growing up. And it wasn't until I was in high school when a young female engineer came to my class and spoke about her career, and she changed my life. And I know that Canada Post can make a great impact by bringing engineers closer to the young children out there to spark that STEM interest. So the Women in Engineering Committee also has a very popular mentorship program looking to develop those young engineers as well as engineers that are at Canada Post for their careers and moving on to leadership positions. And we also focus on male allyship, creating that awareness and recruiting male allies that will actively advocate for gender equity. So some of the other things that we're working on in full force at Canada Post and EDI is the support of Indigenous communities. So there's a whole team in place here, and some of the things we're looking at is improving postal services to Indigenous and Northern communities. So this will foster local economic activity and provide greater access to the e-commerce economy for these rural towns. And we're even piloting a community hub in Northern Alberta. We're looking at developing and implementing an Indigenous procurement policy. We want to work with Indigenous-owned companies, as well as improving Indigenous employment and retention. So I mentioned that we are transforming, we are modernizing. So we're looking at our buildings and seeing how we can make them better and adapt to a parcel-centric world. So we need to think about accessibility and accommodation as well. So in terms of accessibility, we are working hard to follow the Rick Hansen Foundation accessibility requirements. Several sites have been audited and upgraded to ensure that our facilities far and wide across Canada are accessible to all. Accommodation, we want to build facilities with general neutral washrooms, and that's underway with our new facilities, and we're adding multi-faith rooms. And the last thing I wanted to touch on, which is quite unique to Canada Post, but very special, is stamp collectibles. So we use the launch of stamp collectibles to really showcase Canadiana. And so we use them to celebrate and honor exceptional females, women of color, and diversity. Did you know that Canada Post began issuing stamps in celebration of Black History Month in 2009? And we have honored prominent Black Canadians, including most recently, Canada's First Lady of Jazz, singer Eleanor Collins. So to end, I'm personally very proud of the EDI journey that Canada Post is on. We are doing amazing engineering work to modernize the post and to really get those parcels and mail moving across the country to every Canadian. But at the same time, we're really focusing on how do we create a diverse and inclusive workforce to reflect the country we live in. So I've only just scratched the surface of the things that we're doing at Canada Post. So to learn more, please attend the Canada Post events this week. The English session is Tuesday and the French session is Thursday. And the team will provide a great overview of the engineering work we're doing, as well as our EDI initiatives. So come join us. There's a place for you at Canada Post. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pina. It's really so wonderful to hear about all the initiatives that Canada Post has going on, and just your own personal journey of the impact of a role model in your life and the career trajectory you took. And I think that speaks to one of the things we hope to also achieve with the IBET PhD project, and the importance of role models for all of our youth. So today we will be learning more about the IBET PhD project, and we have a wonderful, wonderful group of panelists here to share their experiences with you. However, before we launch into our panel discussion, I'd like to share a video we prepared for you today that talks a little bit about the IBET PhD project.
I think it would have made a huge difference if I had more Black professors because I could see myself in their shoes in the future.
When I studied, there were not many Indigenous people on campus.
I've never been taught by a Black or Indigenous professor throughout my post-secondary career. This showed me how important the mandate of the IBET program is.
IBET PhD project was launched with the aim of diversifying the academic landscape of engineering and technology. The project intends to foster an inclusive research environment to increase the presence of Indigenous and Black academics.
Why couldn't we create opportunities to obtain a PhD in engineering and technology and not just do it at Waterloo, but do it across the country?
Since the official launch in January 2021, the consortium has expanded to almost 16 universities at this stage, and it's happening in 6 provinces across Canada. Currently, we have about 17 recipients of the prestigious IBET PhD Fellowship. We expect to reach up to 100 fellows at the peak of the project's current 5-year commitment.
There's a number of ways that the IBET PhD project is supporting PhD students in their studies. Number one, we provide scholarships, guaranteed funding for these students. The second big area is mentorship. We have a wonderful array of people that have come forward who want to mentor these students. Thirdly, it creates a community amongst themselves. And it's just a wonderful way for them to meet each other, and also for our undergraduate students to be so inspired by seeing people that look like them going on to have very, very successful careers.
The IBET PhD program support is critical in reducing the barriers that currently exist.
Financial help that is given, I don't have to worry much about some of the financial obligations as a student. In other words, it helps me to reach my goal in a much faster pace.
It will provide you the support, not only financially, the program will give you the extra motivation you need.
What this means in terms of the Momentum Fellowship is that this will be a total of $30,000 per year over a period of 4 years.
The mentorship program is very unique. They will be connected to industry and academic mentors, which will guide them through the PhD program. Beyond their PhD studies, they will provide a high level of guidance as they pursue their future career.
What the IBET Momentum Fellowship has done is to understand the need for that mentor and provide mentorship to the PhD graduate. And the mentors come from industry and from academia. And there's a lot of information that I would not have otherwise have access to.
You have a strong mentorship to make sure that you succeed through your PhD and you succeed in life as well. I did not just find any mentor. I found somebody who has gone through what I'm going through or what I want to achieve in life. Of course, my mentor, Dr. McGrain, is a world-renowned expert in my field of research.
Being a mentor is extremely important. My mentor at Queen's was Professor Barry Batchelor, who was the first Black faculty member at Queen's. And I learned a lot from him, both about structural engineering, but also about equity and diversion and supporting that throughout my career.
It's a degree meant for those who seek greater depth of knowledge, but most importantly, they can work in university as professors and lecturers, training our younger generation that will help our community and our society.
When I was going through undergrad, I didn't think that Black professors existed. And honestly, that was part of my motivation to do PhD, because I loved science and I wanted to show that Black people can do science too.
Assimilation is a daily struggle. It's too often that culture and understanding is left at the door. And I think it's really important to see how our Indigenous students and Black students can contribute new knowledge to engineering, feel that they have an ideal place on campus and that they truly are wanted and needed.
I never had the opportunity to be taught by a Black professor or an Indigenous professor. One day, I'm going to be shaping the minds of Black students.
I'm very glad and honored to lead the activities in the IBET PhD project.
A lot of people talk about it, but the actions aren't there to back that up. In this case, the action is very tangible. A lot of Black individuals, Indigenous individuals as well, have been given an opportunity to really change how academia looks like in Canada. It makes me feel happy that this is actually happening.
Wow, what a great video. It's the first time I've seen it. Really, really great job. So you will be seeing some of the people on our panel that are in that video today. So I'm going to introduce one of these people right now. I'm just so honored to introduce Dr. Tiz McConan, who is the inaugural IBET PhD project director and also a professor of chemical engineering at the University of Waterloo. As the director of our IBET PhD project, Professor McConan coordinates and leads the program's activities, including the expansion of the consortium, member institutions, recruitment of IBET PhD fellows, setting up mentorship portfolios, recruiting new mentors, and developing the network platforms. I work with Tiz regularly, and he's one of my favorite faculty members. So Tiz, I will pass it over to you to talk a little bit more about the IBET PhD project.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Mary. I'm so honored to lead the IBET PhD project. The video was excellent as well. I really liked it. So I'll probably revise some of the things that are mentioned in the video. The IBET PhD project, it's a partnership of currently about 16 universities. We have 13 of them that are fully members and recruited fellows already. The remaining 3 are in the final stage. Also, I would like to highlight that all the major engineering universities in Canada have shown interest. They have spoken to us. They are in the process of joining the consortium, which shows that what we are doing in the IBET PhD project is working really well. Also, within 1 year, we already recruited 17 fellows. And for the next cycle, we are in the process already. I can tell you at URL, we already recruited 2 fellows for the next round. So our number of fellows grow to 5 already. So that's very, very exciting. So in the program, we have 3 key elements that we offer. The first one is the Momentum Fellowship, which provides $30,000 for the fellows, and it's a guaranteed funding for 4 years, which gives a lot of flexibility for the fellows and for the professors supervising them as well. The second element is the mentorship program. So we connect them to outstanding research leaders from academia and industry. So they provide extra support to the candidates, whether it is directly related to the research area or as they plan their future career once they finish their PhD project. So currently we have more than 50 volunteered mentors that are in our platform, and the number of mentors are still increasing. So this is very, very exciting. The other piece is networking. So the fellows are already connected. They talk to each other, they support each other. So they basically have a community to grow together and also pursue their professional career in the future. One very interesting platform we came across and developed is a relationship with MyTax. MyTax has been supporting industrial internship for a long time. For PhD projects, it's not very common. Now we have that internship program that we installed for the IBET fellows. So what MyTax provides to our fellows is it provides them access to number one, industries. So industries that are interested in hiring these fellows can come to us or directly to MyTax. We have a coordinator at MyTax that will connect our fellows with the industries. And number two, it provides a special discount to our fellows to go and work in industry. What it means is typically industries tend to pay half of their salary, but currently the industry is obliged to pay only a quarter of their salary. The remaining will be covered by MyTax, which makes it very appealing for industries to hire our fellows. So this will give them some experience before they finish their PhD, which makes them quite interesting for future work in industry, or also to become professors. They already have an accumulated experience in industry, so leading their own research program will be very easy. So currently, in terms of members, so the inaugural members were 6. So the major powerhouse universities in Ontario. So we have Ottawa, we have Queen's, we have Toronto, we have McMaster, we have University of Waterloo and Western that started the program. I'm very, very excited that URL initiated the idea, and we reached out to the other universities, and within a very short period of time, all of them agreed, and we came up with this wonderful platform. Since the launch of the program, which was in 2021, January 2021, as I mentioned earlier, the number of consortium members increased to 13 right now, and almost jumping to 16 in the next few weeks, hopefully. That's where we are right now. And hopefully, so this is in line with our initial idea to make the initiative truly pan-Canadian. So we are almost coast to coast. We have universities in Quebec that are part of the consortium. We have a UBC, which is at the very final stage, waiting for the stamp. So it's very exciting. In terms of participants and fellows, we currently have 17 fellows, so 1 Indigenous fellow, 16 Black fellows. You can see the gender distribution on the slide as well. We have 13 men and 4 women fellows at this stage. The number of mentors, it's exceeding 50 by the time I'm giving this presentation. It was 49, it's increasing. So this is very, very exciting. We have fellows from mentors from academia as well as from industry. And it's exciting to see that we have mentors even from the US. So that shows that the program is getting traction beyond Canada as well. And if you have any question related to the IBET PhD project, feel free to reach out to Sam Lawson. Her contact information is here, or feel free to reach out to me as well. And thank you. And hopefully I'll answer some of your questions you may have later in the Q&A session.
Thank you so much, Tiz. And really, I just want to thank you again for your tremendous leadership in being the inaugural director of this program. It's really due to a lot of your hard work that we have seen the acceleration in the number of universities that are joining, the number of mentors that are joining. So thank you so much. So it's truly, this IBET PhD project is truly an initiative that will make a real difference in the lives of Black and Indigenous scholars, and also, as you heard on the video, a way to help us diversify our professoriate into the future for, in terms of greater representation of Black professors, lecturers, as well as Indigenous professors and lecturers. And we are going to get a chance to meet some of these participants momentarily. But just before we start the panel discussion, I would like to thank the National Engineering Month sponsors who have made the series of events this month possible. It is National Engineering Month, and I just want to give a shout out to all of the sponsors. You can see them here on this slide that have really helped to allow us to offer this event as well as many others during the month of March to celebrate everything that is engineering and the way that engineers contribute to help improve the world. So I'd like to now ask our participants to turn on their cameras so we can get started with the Q&A portion, and so people can meet you. That's going to be exciting for them to meet you. Just a reminder to our audience to please submit your questions using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen if you have any questions. And if you'd like them directed at one of the panelists, just let us know and I can direct the question there. So in addition to Tiz McConan, the inaugural director of the IBET PhD project, who you've already had a chance to hear from, I am pleased to welcome Colin Alley, who is one of our mentors. He's at GHG Technology. He's the manager there at Suncor Energy and an IBET mentor. Thank you so much, Colin, for being a mentor. We've got Stephen Robinson Annabelli. He's a nanotechnology engineering PhD candidate at the University of Waterloo and an IBET Momentum Fellow. We've also got May Ali, a PhD candidate at the University of Toronto and also an IBET Momentum Fellow. So if we can stop sharing the slides now, thank you so much. I think we'll start with Colin. Colin, if you don't mind turning your camera on if you're able to, would you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience as an IBET mentor? Okay, I think Colin's.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. We can't see you, Colin, but if that's okay, we can hear you okay.
Yeah, I was hoping you could see me. I even shaved this morning for the occasion.
Oh no, we can't. We can't. I saw you earlier, so I don't know what's happened to your camera. But anyway, there we go. I can see you now.
Yes.
I think I had to get permission from somebody really important to make it happen, and apparently that's been given.
It was somebody else. So anyway, if you don't mind, Colin, introducing yourself, a little bit about yourself and your experience as an IBET mentor, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. Also, thank everybody who made this possible for me to be part of the panel. This afternoon. Just quickly, first time I saw the video as well too, and one of the comments that struck me was the student who commented on never having had seen a Black professor or lecturer during his university career, and I can extend that back even a little bit further. I don't think I've ever had a Black even teacher. So all throughout my educational experience, that hasn't been a thing. It's hard to say what impact that has had upon me. It is fair to say, though, that when you do see people who reflect you in positions of leadership, it is empowering. And maybe quickly, that's why I'm here today, both as part of the panel, also as part of the mentorship program, in that if through participating and doing things that I enjoy doing anyway, I can have that positive impact upon other people and maybe help their journey be a little bit easier than mine was. And that's something that I'm happy to do. So quickly, just to give everybody a sense of where I am and maybe a taste of what my journey has been. You know, I graduated high school in 1992, but I want to say my academic journey didn't start until several years later in 2000. At that point in time, I was working at Stats Canada, which is the national statistical agency in the Ottawa area I grew up in. And I came to learn that just hard work and talent weren't going to be enough to achieve the aspirations that I had for my career. At that moment in time, it was lack of credentials that I felt was holding me back. I thought that by getting an advanced degree in something would allow me to break through a bit of a ceiling that I was coming up against. That turned my attention back to graduate school, back to my alma mater, University of Waterloo. I chose to pursue a degree in engineering versus science that I'd studied before, because I thought engineering would allow me to work on problems that were maybe of a more practical nature than the theoretical problems that I had focused on while I was undergraduate in science. I picked chemical engineering because maybe somewhat naively, I thought that because I had taken quite a bit of chemistry as an undergrad, that the chemical and chemical engineering meant there'd be lots of chemistry there as well too. As I came to learn that chemistry wasn't as much of an asset as I thought it was going to be. That being said, I think I've been well served by the choice to pursue advanced degrees and also a career in chemical engineering. I came to University of Waterloo, starting my graduate journey. I had to take 8 undergraduate engineering courses to bridge the gap from chemistry to engineering. In a lecture in a second-year course, the professor, Peter Douglas, who recently retired from University of Waterloo, was talking to us about this concept, CO2 capture from large-scale industrial processes that to me seemed like science fiction. And shortly after the lecture, I went and had a chat with him and asked if he was just pulling our leg or was it something actually credible that people were working on. And, long story short, ended up starting my master's degree under his co-supervision about 8 months later after finishing the bevy of undergraduate courses I had to complete. And then about 2.5 years later, after finishing the master's degree, I decided to stay under his supervision and pursue a PhD. I'll pause here for a second and mention that I've had the benefit of having fantastic mentors along my journey, and Peter Douglas is an example of somebody who gave me the benefit of his experience, and also gave me opportunity to try to find my own way and to make mistakes and ensure that if I did make mistakes, that I was able to learn from them the appropriate lessons and to move on as a stronger, more capable researcher, but also a stronger, more capable person. In 2008, left the University of Waterloo and started a postdoc at the Commonwealth Scientific Industrial Research Organization based in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. Spent a 1.5 years there before being recruited by the federal government in Canada to come work as a special advisor on carbon capture and storage to help support their, at that time, quite intensive regulatory process, develop regulations for heavy industry in Canada to help control greenhouse gas emissions. After spending 3 years in Environment Canada, I then took an opportunity to join Shell Canada, based in Calgary, Alberta. There I was initially responsible for helping to develop Shell Canada's strategy, tactics, and plans to manage the CO2 risk of their heavy oil business, which focused in large part on the oil sands in Alberta, but also as well as different heavy oil resources that Royal Dutch Shell owned globally. I then transitioned from the strategy and risk management to doing novel technology development, specifically looking at developing technologies to both help manage the existing emissions from Royal Dutch Shell's portfolio, but also looking at other low intensity energy options that Royal Dutch Shell might look to develop and ultimately deploy both assets in Canada and around the world. In 2017, when Royal Dutch Shell divested most of its interest in the heavy oil business in Canada, I then joined Suncor Energy, also based in Calgary, and there was working as a manager of technology development with a specific focus on low intensity electricity, energy, and hydrogen technologies. Again, looking to help Suncor manage both the emissions intensity of its existing operations, but also looking to see if we could develop novel lines of business based around new, innovative, low intensity energy solutions.
Thank you so much. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mary, if I have just maybe 30 more seconds.
No, absolutely. Go ahead.
So happy to get into talking about lots of different aspects, and specifically with the work that I did, but did want to reinforce the fact that, you know, along every step of the journey, I benefited from having people who took an active interest in both me as a person, as well as me as a professional or as a researcher. Couldn't have had the success that I've had without that kind of support. There was one area, maybe gap, I'll say, where I felt if I could have had a bit more support, I could have been either more successful, whatever that means, and that changes with time, but maybe could have avoided some of the pitfalls. So to learn the lessons, but maybe not as difficult a way. And that had to do with having somebody who did have that firsthand experience with respect to what life would look like in industry. You know, I came to realize that life isn't a complete meritocracy. Again, it's not just talent or hard work that will ultimately guarantee you success. There's lots of soft skills and maybe hidden skills that one needs to acquire. And if I could have had an opportunity to leverage somebody else's experience earlier, it would have been easier. And then I think now, given the benefit that I've had of having worked in industry for some time now, if I can give back to people who are starting that journey and maybe give them some of those insights of what industry might be expecting, might be looking for to help ease their transition and ultimately their success long term, then that's something I'm very interested in helping to do.
Thank you so much, Colin, for sharing your story. And I completely agree with you. We don't have many mentors from industry. And so many of our PhD students really don't have a window into what it's like to work there. So thank you so much for giving so generously of your time. And I'm so pleased to hear you made the jump from science into engineering. So that's wonderful. So next, I'd like to ask Stephen if he wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your experience as an IBET fellow. So Stephen, I'll pass it over to you.
Yes, you can hear me all right?
Yep, we can hear you fine, Stephen.
Great. I don't have an extensive experience as Colin does yet, but this is going to be quite short. So I'm Stephen. I'm currently a PhD student at the University of Waterloo in the Department of Mechanical and Mechatronics Engineering. My project, the primary idea of my project is related to laser-based characterization of nanoparticles. So I work in close collaboration with the Waterloo Institute of Nanotechnology, WIN. As an IBET fellow, I've had the opportunity to firsthand see the efforts and opportunities that are being created for Black and Indigenous researchers across the universities in Canada. And I'm very grateful for the support that is being provided to these researchers. And yeah, that's my brief introduction.
Thank you so much, Stephen. That was wonderful. Next, I'd like everybody to meet May Ali. So May, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your experience as an IBET fellow.
Hi everyone. Glad to meet you all. Okay, so as of my background, I'm May and I come from Sudan. I'm currently a PhD student at the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at the University of Toronto, and I work on applications of machine learning in health, particularly building predictive model for disease diagnosis. To be frank, I feel like my identity is being celebrated being an IBET fellow. So as opposed to all the hardships I had to go through to find a graduate program, now I'm joining to University of Toronto with a prestigious fellowship. And instead of like having to run after professors to accept me as their graduate student, no, like now I'm receiving emails like, would you like to join my research group, you know? So it really means a lot to be an IBET fellow. Like I'm treated with respect. Everyone wants to like grab coffee and talk about my experience. And actually one of the great things I had to experience as an IBET fellow, I had to do a lab tour. So I get to join 3 different labs before choosing my advisor. It's like the other way around, right? So I believe even all of you had to apply and contact supervisors to accept you, right? So no, this is different for me. I'm so happy that it's this way. And also the other opportunities that comes with the IBET, so other than the very generous stipend that we receive, the MyTax offers that we got to travel abroad to do some research with other partners, and actually, or just like talking the other week that the professor that actually I'm working on a very special project that from computer science and ECE, and the computer science people have like partners in the US, particularly in MIT, and then I get to go there and spend some time with them through the MyTax offer. So it's really different. So I know there's a question coming up later that if whether I would have joined graduate program if it wasn't for IBET, maybe yes, but it wouldn't be the same experience. And I'm so happy to be a graduate student through an IBET fellowship.
Thank you so much, May, and I'm glad to hear about how much you're being celebrated and how in demand you are. I know we were also very sad that you didn't join the University of Waterloo, so it wasn't just professors, but universities also vying for your wonderful talents. So we will be moving to the Q&A portion of the session now. So please make sure you put any questions in the Q&A and we will get through as many as we can. So I think the first question that I see coming up, I'll direct towards Tiz. And so Tiz, the question is, what is the application process and the deadline? And does the supervisor need to submit something since they will be contributing a $5,000 stipend as part of that?
Can you hear me, Mary?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's a very good question. The application process is fairly straightforward. So you can directly apply to your choice of university directly. You don't have to go through the IBET website. But if you have any question with regard to the current available position or the process, you can reach out to us as well. But the process is fairly easy. The supervisor does not have to write anything. In fact, what we encourage is the candidate will submit an application and he will have an option to select a pool of potential supervisors. In fact, the faculty will provide guidance with regard to which supervisor is more suitable for your own research needs. And also we evaluate the supervisor. It has to be a well-recognized and proven supervisor to ensure that you have success in your program. So you don't have to worry about that. So with respect to where you want to apply, definitely feel free to reach out to us, to Sam and myself. You can get our information from the IBET website. That's where it is. There is a form you need to fill out in general. I think that's common for all universities. You need to write a statement about why you are interested in the program. Again, if you need help with filling out those forms, we can provide support with that too. In terms of deadlines, it follows the specific university's deadline. So last year, at least what we have been doing was one cycle admission, but right now, most universities, I would know at least 4 or 5 of the consortium members switched it to options. So you can join either in January or in September. So those are the options. At Waterloo, we follow a 3-term model. So we accept candidates in either terms.
Thank you so much, Diz. That's wonderful. Colin, I think the next one I'll ask for you. I think you may have really touched on this in your introductory comments, but can you just go back and tell us, why did you choose to become an IBET mentor, and why is it so important to have mentors?
Yeah, thanks, Mary. Yeah, just to expand a little bit on what I said in the intro. So, what is a mentor, and my take on it? So to me, a mentor is somebody who makes themselves available so that somebody else, the mentee, is able to leverage their experience to help them along their way, right? Their way, not the mentor's way, but the mentee's way. I've had the benefit of having lots of mentors in my life. When I was preparing for this panel today and reflected back, probably the first mentor I had was in early high school with a basketball coach who took that active interest in me, both as a person, but also at that time as a basketball player, and wanted to see me succeed and gave me the benefit of his experience, asking questions, going away, thinking about solutions that might work for me, coming back, posing them to me in a reasonable way that had a high chance of uptake on my part, allowing me the flexibility to make mistakes and to learn from them. And without those people in my life, I came from a family that was quite supportive of me and people who were present, but having the benefit of the diversity of experience really helped me, I think, to thrive and to move further to achieving my potential than I ever could have before. So long way of saying, I think mentorship is critical for everybody's success. And I had the benefit of having great mentors in my lifetime. So that's part of why I'm a mentor and joined the IBET. A simple answer also would be that I was asked. So I did get that email from a former supervisor saying there is this thing happening and would you be interested in helping out? And then maybe even selfishly, I benefit a great deal from the mentorship experiences that I've had in the past. So I've been a mentor now through my professional, my professional career for about 10 years now. And over those 10 years, there's been about a dozen people that I've had experiences working with. In some cases, it's been just 2 or 3 meetings, but there are a couple individuals now who, it's been going on 7 years that we've had this relationship. And I get a great deal of satisfaction from those encounters. So I'm a natural problem solver. I really enjoy doing that. So people are bringing you their challenges, having to develop ingenuity and work with them to see if you can in some way make some progress in helping them address them. So for me, that's very fulfilling. And then when you have a chance to work with somebody over a long period of time, seeing them succeed does make you feel good.
Yeah, that's
why I'm
great,
here.
Colin. Yeah. I completely agree with you. When you give to other people and you see them succeed, it really brings great joy to the individual. So thank you so much again. That was wonderful in terms of your motivations and what you get out of it and what you give and stuff. So the next question, I think I'll turn to our IBET fellows, and maybe I'll start with Stephen. Would you have pursued a PhD if this opportunity had not been available? So we'll start with Stephen and then I'll move over to May.
So research was always on my mind. It was something that I felt like I was always drawn to, especially going through university and learning some of the concepts in class. And Colin alluded to saying some of those concepts seemed like magic, but it was actually happening. People were paying attention to it. So that naturally drew me to contribute into that. But I was still contemplating whether PhD would be a way to go, and there was still a lot of doubt in my mind. But when this opportunity came up, and I applied to it because it was an opportunity that was available to me, and I was lucky to be one of the IBET fellows. It really nudged me towards that positive direction of getting to a research to be a researcher while going through a PhD program. So the IBET Momentum program was really a strong driving force towards the direction of becoming becoming a PhD student. And the mentorship program as well, I think was a great addition to the scholarship as well, because I felt like this gave me an opportunity to have access to information I otherwise didn't really know who to approach to ask these sorts of questions and things like that. Being in crossroads and not knowing where to go, at least you can bring these challenges to someone who might have experienced this in one way or another, and really help you solve these challenges and find a way forward.
That's great, Stephen. I share your love of research myself. So, May, I'll pass it over to you now. Would you have pursued a PhD if this opportunity hadn't been available?
I would say yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but as I said, like I would like to iterate what Colin has mentioned about this satisfaction that you get when you give it out to other people and being a mentor. It actually feels nice. Like now I have a mentor and I'm actually mentoring other people. So for those who don't know, like I always like to bring up the initiative that I have. It's called the AI 101, which is about teaching machine learning and data science for people back home in Africa. So I'm a mentor to like many of those young students. And I feel like it's an obligation that I feel I do a PhD, that now I'm a professor and I can bring those to actually be my students. So this is like my ultimate goal there. And my mentor from the IBET fellowship, she's a young faculty member. She just joined. So our meeting is about like what's like the process when she applied to get her job. So speaking like my close term future, like when you do this and this helped me to get the job, like do this one and get like an internship with that, like in that place, you know. So these are like real tangible things that I need to do to actually get a faculty position. So the mentorship program is great. And what else? I'm just reading through the questions that I've never had a Black professor on my graduate career. So I wouldn't love for the next generation to have this feeling, you know. It's like you are in the class, like filled with other other people. So like you have like the feeling that maybe you don't belong. So I wouldn't love for others to feel the same way. So we're coming.
Good. Thank you, May. That was wonderful. So Tiz, I think I'll direct the next question to you. So the IBET PhD project is a wonderful initiative. How do international students who aren't Black Canadians or permanent residents benefit from the IBET PhD project, especially with regards to the mentorship and internship opportunities? Since these PhD students are probably coming straight from their home country or straight from a master's degree in Canada, but still are on a temporary resident visa, because the way we've structured the IBET PhD project, it is available for Canadian and permanent residents of Canada.
This is a wonderful question. Mary touched on it a little bit as well. Yeah, when we organize it, so you know the initial objective is, or the challenge we try to solve is, when you look at the Canadian engineering and technology faculties, we see that the diversity is fairly okay, I would say. But when it comes to Indigenous and Black faculties, it's basically none. We have very limited number of Black professors. When it comes to Indigenous, it becomes even more bleak. So we try to diversify that, and to solve that, what we took is to train PhD candidates, which is very close to the professor's level, and make them available for a hire in the near future. So to do that, we want to encourage Canadians that are already here. We know that most Canadians want to stay in Canada as well, because that will contribute to their own society. So that's what we take on. So currently the program is for Canadian permanent residents and citizens, but in some cases, if the candidates do have sufficient connection to Canada, let's say they finished their master's in Canada, they applied for a PR, permanent residence, and they want to be involved in IBET, there is a possibility. You have to, but that's dependent on the independent university. I can give you an example. University of Calgary pursued such an approach. They hired IBET fellows that are international students currently, but they showed sufficient connection to Canada. So that's one way for international students to get involved in the program. But case by case, maybe we can look into setting up a new program where international students can be involved in the mentorship and some of the events that we prepare, or we from time to time we prepare workshops, and we plan to also prepare a conference. So probably the first one will be in the coming end of September or early October. That's the plan. So we may be able to invite international students, but I'm just speaking from my own idea. So I have to get permission from my dean and stakeholders, so the consortium members. That could be a potential thing to pursue.
Thank you, Tiz. That conference sounds really interesting. I can't wait for it in the fall. So Colin, I think I'll pass the next question over to you. And it's, how do you think the IBET PhD project supports engineering challenges faced by Indigenous and Black communities? So I'll let you answer first, and then Tiz, I'll give you an opportunity to add something, and if you'd like to as well.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. So yeah, I'm looking at the question right here, and I'm just thinking how I should parse engineering challenges. Any thoughts there, just to help guide me?
Well, I think when we think about engineering challenges, we could think about it in terms of technical challenges. We could think of it in terms of recruiting people, in terms of the talent that we need in order to solve these challenges. So I think you can think of different perspective. And I think it's just some of the different perspectives people bring from their own lived experiences in terms of the approaches they take, but also maybe the challenge that they feel we should be focusing on.
Okay. Yeah, I will come at it from the perspective of, I think this is a theme that I've heard now for decades. It's, how do you make engineering, whether it's research or it's a career in engineering, appealing to Indigenous and Black communities, or even get them to think that it's a credible possibility. I'll share that when I was late in high school, my aspiration was to be a gym teacher. I thought that would be the dream career. I could coach basketball and football. I could wear jogging pants to school every day, and what life is better than that? And it was a chemistry teacher in high school who tweaked my interest in that, turned it into a passion, which got me away from the jogging pants and into the lab coat. I'm not sure I got the better end of the deal for that, but still, that's what happened. Definitely, and part of the reason I think, again, that I'm here is to maybe just show what is possible. So, I haven't won a Nobel Prize. I'm not in the Order of Canada, right? So, but I think in terms of my aspirations for myself and also my parents for me, I think I'm quite successful in all the important ways: loving family, have good work experience, good problems to solve, fun and interesting people to work with. And I think just me being there and having the opportunity to talk and share my experience with people does help them to understand that this is possible. And, I was by no means top of my class. So you don't even have to be one of those super ultra high achievers to achieve a modicum of success. That hard work and some aptitude and having good people to connect with along the way to help you on your journey are more than sufficient to help you get to a place like I'm in, or a place working at a university like Waterloo or U of T, which have very, very strong reputations. So I think that's the one key aspect, is just showing people that this is within the realm of possibility and very accessible, even for people coming from modest places.
Yeah, no, that's great. And hopefully you did get a chance to wear your jogging pants during COVID a little bit.
Every day, all day.
My son also wants to be a gym teacher. He's 18, so we'll see what he does.
Okay.
Tiz, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that question. Otherwise,
maybe a little bit, yes. I completely share what Colin has to say here. So wonderful. And so what we're trying to do here is we agree that there is a talent. In indigenous communities, Black communities, there is sufficient talent. We just have to cultivate it and to make sure that they know they can do it. So being a role model there is fantastic. So we're trying to create role models. So, by generating professors who will teach in engineering and computer science technology programs, when the young Indigenous and Black high school students see them, they'll be motivated. They want to pursue engineering and technology themselves, and it's also showing them and their communities that it's possible, it's doable. That's one way that the IBET program will support our Canadian communities. The other one, students can pursue research that's directly related to their community. For instance, it's well recognized that we have a problem with clean water in some Indigenous communities. So if Indigenous students want to pursue a study that's geared towards their community, the IBET program will support that kind of research project as well. That's another way to look at it.
Yeah, great point. Is you're right. With the fellowship, it gives the students some latitude to pursue the problems that they find most interesting.
Exactly. So as opposed to a typical research where the supervisor brings the money and he has the ultimate say on what research to do, with the IBET, most of the fellowship is from the student gets the money from the fellowship. So there is a lot of flexibility to design a newer project. That kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you, Tiz. I think we have time for one final question. So I'll go back to the IBET fellows, and maybe I'll start with you this time. And I just want to ask you, why do you think other Black engineering or computer science master's level graduates should consider this program?
Some students might not have the opportunity to join a graduate program, unless through the IBET. So other ones might be merit-based that they don't fulfill. But I think what thing I like about the IBET selection criteria is that they like to reward people who are active in their communities. So even if you don't have those amazing A grades, so if you have this passion to make the community around you better, you want to give it back to your own people. So you can join through the IBET. So you don't have to meet the strict criteria of grades, but if you have the passion to give back to the community, then you can join the IBET and receive it, being in the same classes with those A people, but on top of that, receiving mentorship and a very competitive stipend. So if I got I personally, if I have the choice to join the same program with an IBET or without an IBET, then I'll definitely do the IBET. I'm happy that I went through the IBET eventually.
There's a lot of good add-ons with the IBET.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to use it as a way to reimagine our PhD program for all of our students, because this is the exemplar now of a great and wonderful PhD experience. Yeah, Stephen, I will ask you the same question I just asked May. What would you say to people about why they should consider this program?
I think I share the same sentiments as May, in terms of having more opportunities open up to you as an IBET fellow. The flexibility of joining a particular project that you would like to contribute towards. You are, most of the time when you're applying to these to PhD programs, you're limited in terms of you could be limited in terms of merit or grades and things like this, but the IBET ups your quality by considering other aspects of your life in terms of contribution to the society, some of the personal projects that you might have done in the past, and then through that a lot of opportunities open up. But as well, I really want to point to the mentorship program as well, which is a great addition. So not only would you have these many opportunities running after you rather than the opposite, you have the opportunity to speak to leaders in the industry and in academia, solve some of the challenges. As May already mentioned, that with her mentor she's able to sort of discuss a path forward as she moves through her career towards some of the goals that she's trying to accomplish. I also have the opportunity to speak to talk about some challenges and paths forward with my mentor. So these are some of the obvious reasons to consider the IBET mentorship, IBET program in all, and there are also subtleties that come with these obvious add-ons.
Thank you so much, Stephen. That was a great answer. We're just over time, everybody. So I just really want to thank the audience for attending and remind you to visit ibetphd.ca if you would like any more information, or just reach out to us to find out more. And I also want to thank all of our panelists for joining us today, our 2 IBET fellows, our mentor, Colin, as well as our program director, Tizazu. So thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day and hope to see you soon.
My pleasure, Mary. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.